Hey guys, Cameron with CBM Reviews here, and I'm here with the latest comic book movie release for you. This is the review of Batman Hush. Batman Hush was directed by Justin Copeland, and it stars Jason O'Mara as Batman, as well as Jennifer Morrison as Catwoman, and Jeffrey Arend as Hush. I'm going to give you a pretty vague story synopsis, as well as some things I liked, the things that I didn't like, and then my grade at the end. So stick around, kids. I'll tell you what it's all about. Before I continue on this review, I just want to thank you for clicking on this video. It means a whole lot to me. If you like what you see so far, hit that like button. If you want to see more things like this, more comic book movie reviews, TV shows, maybe even top 10 lists, click that subscribe button. And if you want to know as soon as anything gets uploaded, hit that notification bell. You'll know as soon as anything pops up on my channel. So without giving anything away, this is about as vague as I can put it. Batman is doing his own Batman thing, and in the course of an event, something happens and he gets gravely injured. He has to call upon his old friend Thomas Elliot to perform life-saving surgery on him, and then it's unfortunately back to business as well, because he's not supposed to be out doing things, but he is. He's trying to investigate exactly what happened, because it seems like there is somebody who knows a little bit more information than they're supposed to know in the criminal underworld, and now it's up to Batman to figure out what's going on. And he also has something going on in his personal life that is positive, but could possibly cause him more heartache than good. Like I said, I'm being very vague, but here are some things that I really enjoyed about this. The acting. The acting is on point. Whenever there is something going on, grief, turmoil, whatever, you believe it. They sell it and you buy it. And it's wonderfully done. The action for an animated movie, once again, is very well done. One of my favorite fights in this is the briefest fight in this, which I'm not going to give away. I really believe that you should watch this for yourself, as unspoiled as possible. There are quite a few cameos in this, with a lot of villains like Bane. You also have Scarecrow and the Riddler, and you have the Penguin and Mr. Freeze and some quick cuts, things like that, but there's a ton of them. There's also cameos from Lois Lane, and Superman's in this. There's also Lex Luthor. There's a cornucopia of people in this movie, and as a comic book fan, you can definitely appreciate it. There's also a romance that happens in this movie, and with animated movies, romance may be a little difficult to sell. This one does it perfectly. There are a few things that I didn't like in this movie, but I had to look at it objectively in order to find it. Number one, there is a lot of history that this movie borrows from. This takes place directly after the events of the death of Superman and reign of the Superman. So if you aren't invested in the DCAU, you may be lost as far as why is Lex Luthor held in such a high regard in this movie. Another thing is that if you aren't a big Batman fan, you may wonder why all of these villains are just coming out for like one-shots, so to speak. And if you aren't familiar with them, you may be lost. So that's one of those things that is working against it, even though it's a positive thing on one end. If you aren't familiar with the Batman Rogues Gallery or with the events going on in other animated movies, you may have a little bit of trouble following it, specifically in the first half. One little nitpick that I have, and this is against Jason O'Mara, or maybe it's against the voice director, but I feel like his Bruce Wayne and his Batman aren't two separate entities. Whenever Bruce is talking on the phone, it sounds like Batman talking on the phone, and I wish that they would have differentiated. I wish he would have had a lighter, maybe a bit more upbeat tone when he was on the phone as Bruce, or when he was interacting with people as Bruce Wayne. His Batman is perfect. I'll give him that. But his Bruce, I didn't get a Bruce. I got I'm Batman, just not with my mask on. But the biggest problem that I have is consistency. And this goes with a problem that I have with several Batman movies, animated ones as well. Whenever Batman sustains an injury in combat, sometimes it just doesn't feel like it has any effect on him. And this is even more of a problem in this movie, because at the beginning of this movie, he sustains an incredible injury, one that almost kills him. If you're going to have that kind of injury at the beginning of the movie, you need to keep it consistent, so where if he sustains injuries later on in the movie, it makes sense. And so if you have him sustain these horrific injuries, I'll say horrific because human beings suffer some of the injuries that Batman sustains in the last bit of this movie, he's going to be incapacitated, and he wasn't. So that was a problem I had there. But having said all that, this movie is incredibly good. It was definitely worth the hype that was surrounding it before its release. So the grade that I'm going to give it is an 85. Quite justifiable. Even if you've read the graphic novel that this is based off of, there are enough small changes and maybe even one big change that will really make you wonder what's going to happen and maybe who's behind all of it. There are the issues that I had with the story, whereas in one case Batman gets injured and he is incapacitated and needs surgery, and then in the other case he sustains some pretty serious injuries and he's pretty much just fine after that. There's also the issue where you cannot tell his Bruce Wayne and his Batman apart, and I think that that's very important for his character. But the romance that he has in the movie absolutely works. I completely buy it. And then all of the supporting characters are very well done. Maybe not my perfect Joker and Harley Quinn, but those were just pawns in this chess game of a movie, and the big pieces work out just fine. This movie comes out at the same time as Comic-Con on the 20th, and so if you want to get it, you can get it on digital release today, but if you want that hard copy, you gotta wait until next month. So that's my review of Batman Hush. Let me know what you guys think about it in the comment section down below. You enjoyed this video, hit that like button, and if you're new here, subscribe to the channel. Share this with your friends, and as always, this is Cameron with CBM Reviews. We'll see you next time.